Welcome to day 2 of our mid-year manifestation challenge. And today we're going to look at reigniting your vision. So this is going to be a very fun day. I hope you have downloaded your planner. If you caught yesterday's episode, watched the replay or came on live, then I hope you've done some of the homework from your planner. That would be great. If you haven't got the planner yet, if this is all new to you, you're just seeing this for the first time, you can go get the planner. You can download it. The link is in my bio, you can register there and then you'll get the planner. And you will also get replays to all the sessions in case you missed any of them. So when we are looking at reigniting your vision, this is really about, we want to look at what is your soul-led desires, not just those things that you want. Because a lot of the times we can have desires for things because society maybe puts those visions into us. They say this is what you should have. If you think about it from when you were a child, depending on which generation you grew up in, but it was mostly like go to school, get good grades, get a good job, build a retirement fund, and then, and buy the house, don't forget to buy the house. And then one day retire, and that's life. But when we talk about our soul-led desires, it's so much more than just the things and having the stuff. So we're going to look at that a little bit today. We're going to look at reconnecting with your vision, just asking the questions of what is it that you truly desire. I did a reel a few weeks back where I spoke about where somebody told me that manifestation doesn't work because if it did, everybody would be a millionaire. And I said to him, well, the truth is that not everybody wants to be a millionaire. So even though maybe society says that in order for us to get ahead in life, we have to have a lot of money, but maybe your dream is to literally go off grid and just have a place of your own and just not even be online or anything like that. Or maybe your vision is and your desire is to become a millionaire because you have big dreams and there's so much that you want to achieve. So let's look at what is your soul-led desires. Your desires are sacred and they instructions from your higher self. Yesterday I spoke about the timing being 1313 and I read to you the thing from the angel numbers of what the meaning is behind 1313. And the short version of that is basically that we want to get a place of wholeness so that we can go and we can help other people. I don't think we were just brought into this life to just live and do stuff, but to be able to help other people, lift other people up, to be able to have big dreams, to create big things that will change other people's lives, and sometimes to do the smallest minute things where maybe you've healed, you shared your healing with somebody else and that led them onto a healing journey. But yeah, there's a scripture that says people perish for the lack of vision. So if you don't have a vision, a clear destination of where you want to go to, you end up in the cycle of just being stuck. Like nothing's happening. It's just going round and round, go to work, come home, feed the kids, take the kids to school, go to sleep, blah, blah, blah. And it's just the same thing over and over. But when you have a clear vision and a destination you want to get to, that's when you start feeling motivated and energized and all these things because you have somewhere that you want to get to. So if we look at, imagine almost your desires being this like divine download, this divine data that is coming to you. So yesterday we spoke about decluttering, and one of the key areas was around decluttering in your mind. All the things that is just keeping everything full, and decluttering in your body space, in your energy. And a big reason for this and why this is so important and why I had it on day 1 is because when there's so much clutter and so much busyness happening that it gets too noisy to be able to receive this divine download, this divine data, these desires that are our desires, but that are maybe so deep inside of us because there's so much noise around it that we can't tap into it. So I want to encourage you to quieten the noise, to slow down, to take deep breaths, and just ask yourself, if the answer was yes, what would I ask for? If the answer was yes, what would you ask for? Just get through all of that noise. So if we think about those divine downloads, that's coming through our intuition, and it speaks to us through our intuition. So we need to get quiet to be able to hear that little voice that's nudging us into doing different things, trying different things, whatever it is, whatever those desires are that come up for you. Now, if we think about, let's just look at the brain for a moment, and we have a part called the Reticular Activating System. Now, in short, it's called the RAS. And what this does is, when you focus on something, when you have a desire and you put your focus onto that thing, and maybe it's not even a desire, maybe it's something you don't want, but when you focus on something, you end up getting more of that something. You start seeing more of those things. Think about maybe if you want a new car and you're thinking about, oh, there's this, let's take a red car for instance, a red car that you want, a specific make, model, year, whatever it is, and you want this car. And maybe you spotted it in the garage, or you spotted it when you drove around or something, but then you're kind of not seeing it that much. And then you put it on your vision board and you start visualizing, I'm going to be driving this car soon, and maybe even you take the car for a test drive. But then all of a sudden you start noticing when you're driving down the road, oh, there's a red car. Oh, wow, that's exactly the same make and model that I want. Oh, there's another one. So that is your brain, because you have clicked onto something. It's like almost, if you think about when, like a sniper, when maybe this is a bad example, but when a sniper, when he is fixed on the target, right? All his attention, I suppose her attention, could have a female sniper too, why not? All the attention is on that target. And that's what your reticular activating system does, is when your attention is so fixated on a specific target, on that desire that you want, you start seeing more of that around you. Now, the beautiful thing about that is not just about seeing all these things, you start seeing opportunities on how you can attract that desire into your life. And when you link that divine download and your reticular activating system, when you link those two together, when you've decluttered and you've made space to be able to hear your intuition, what happens is, when those opportunities, because opportunities are around us all the time, but when you can see the opportunity, and when that little voice inside you gives you that nudge and says, just make that call, or just speak to that person, or you bump into somebody and just have this random conversation, and in the end you look back and it's like, oh wow, that actually led me to this desire, this thing that I wanted. But we also have a thing called confirmation bias. So what this is this is more like on the opposite side, and this looks at looking for evidence of what you already believe. So we'll use the car as the example. You want that red car, but maybe there's a little belief in the background. Maybe you heard when you were a kid growing up that people with red cars think a certain way about themselves, and that had a bit of a negative influence. So that little thought is there in your subconscious mind, right? So what happens now? Your confirmation bias kicks in. So you're driving down the road and you see a red car, and then you see, oh my gosh, this person is actually like really driving bad. And then that confirmation bias kicks in and says, oh, you see, people with red cars aren't good people, or people with red cars have bad attitudes. And then you're working hard on your manifestation, you're trying to focus, but you're getting stuck, you're getting procrastination, you're getting distracted, everything's happening because of this confirmation bias. And you're driving down the road again, and next thing, this red car cuts in front of you, and it's the same make and model that you want. Confirmation bias kicks in and says, oh, you see, people who drive red cars have bad attitudes. And then what happens? You have this conflict within you where this is my desire, I really want this car, it's on my vision board, I'm having visualizations, but then in your subconscious mind there's this thing like, oh no, maybe not. So when we're looking at our visions, it's very important to be aware of this confirmation bias. And I think it's in tomorrow's session we'll actually talk about how to work through those blocks and get rid of them, to clear things that are keeping you stuck from actually manifesting. But it's a good thing today to just be aware of it and know that that is there. And you can start slowly saying that when the red car cut in front of you, it's not about because the person has a red car, but it's just that's the type of person they are, and it wouldn't matter which car they were in because that is just who they are. So yeah, that's so interesting about how our minds work and how it affects our vision, either in a positive or a negative way. But I want to leave you with the thought that focus on your reticular activating system. Keep focusing on what it is that you want. Be aware of that confirmation bias so that you can pick up what the negative beliefs and thoughts are. Now, a big thing with manifesting is it's not, you don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. So in terms of thinking about that person with the red car, if you believe the type of person who has a red car is that type of person, then that's a conflict. But when you start looking at, okay, well, who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? Oh, I am the type of person who drives the red car because I am patient and I am kind and I drive well and blah, 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 whatever it is for you, you know. So in NLP, we have this thing called Neurological Levels of Change. And there's 6 different levels. And the first level is environment. So I'll first just tell you all the levels. It's environment, behavior, your capabilities, your beliefs and values, your identity, and then spirit / purpose, higher power, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of times in life, we look and we say, okay, I want to manifest this certain kind of lifestyle. Now that is one of the key things that I teach my my clients. Sorry, a message just popped through there and distracted me. A key thing that I teach my clients is not so much to manifest the things, but manifest on the lifestyle that you want. Because when you become living in that lifestyle, the things that you want automatically just appear. But that also doesn't mean that like don't put the car and your vision board and the house and the holiday and the clothes or whatever it is that you want. Yes, please, still do those things, but focus more on the lifestyle that you want. So in terms of that, when we look at environment, a lot of people think that it's take a job, for instance. If you have a job and you don't like your job very much, or you don't like the place that you work for, or you don't like your boss, whatever it is, you think that, okay, if I'm going to change jobs, so I change the environment, then I'm going to manifest and all these other things are going to work out, which is not necessarily the case, because the only thing that's changed is your environment. So when you look at the next level, a lot of people think, okay, I have to change my behavior. So if you think about, okay, I want to lose some weight. Summer's here. Well, it is for me in Ireland. Maybe you're in a different country where it's winter at the moment. But summer's here, so I want to have that summer body. I want to lose some weight. And then you think, okay, I have to change my behavior. So I have to start focusing on what I'm eating. I have to start exercising, getting up early, go for walks, do whatever it is, all those things. So you think you change your behavior, change your habits, but what ends up happening? You keep that up for how long before you in the fridge and munching the piece of cake and nobody's seeing me, you know? Because when you're trying to change things at a behavioral level, it's very difficult because you're trying to use your willpower to change. Then the next level is capabilities, and that's looking at our skills and saying, okay, I want to have this beautiful coaching business. I want to help people, or I want to have this business where I design websites for people and I want to help them to build up their business. But then you think to yourself, okay, well, in order to do this, I have to learn certain skills. And then you keep learning skills and learning skills and learning skills. And you get stuck in that cycle of, okay, I have to focus on my skill set. I have to focus. And it's like that sometimes also with people in their careers. They get so stuck in the career that it's, I have to get to the next level. I have to get to the next level. I have to upskill. I have to upskill. I have to upskill. And that's not a bad thing if what you're doing is leading you towards the desired lifestyle that you want. If that is living out your ideal day that you would like to have, then yes, by all means. But for a lot of people, they think that, well, my life's going to improve. And it does a little bit, but what ends up happening, as soon as you get the income raise, your expenses increase. So you actually always end up at the same place. And then the next one is your beliefs and your values. So we spoke a little bit about beliefs with the confirmation bias. So if you just go and do affirmations, for instance, affirmations are extremely powerful. But if you are only doing affirmations, and let's go back to the car, and your affirmation is, I have my new red car. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this car. So there's a little bit of affirmation, tiny little bit of gratitude in there, but it's still just an affirmation. Your beliefs are not necessarily going to change just on that. And that's where a lot of times people try different manifestation techniques and they will get stuck on one thing and think it's the one thing that's going to make the difference. And that's not always the case. That's why I have a 5-step manifestation process, because it's not just the one thing. There's different things. And if your beliefs are saying, if you're saying verbally, I have the car, and your beliefs are saying, no, you don't. Look, where's the car? Look outside in your parking. There's no car there. Then you have this conflict happening the whole time. And values are extremely important also, because when you think about your values, if I was working with a client a while ago and her top value was to be a mom. That was her number one value, was mom. And then she was building a business. But she was struggling. She was really, really struggling, because she would stop, start the whole time. She'd start, she'd get involved, she'd be excited, have these big dreams, big ideas. She'd get going, and then she'd put the brakes on, and then she'd be mom. So there was this conflict between business owner and mother, and she couldn't sync the two together because it conflicted with the value. But then once she understood that she could have the value of mom, live out being a good mom, as well as being present for her children, as well as being able to give them everything that they need, then she could go and step into a business and not have any issues around it. But our values are very, very important. If you want to build a business, your manifestations, even if you're manifesting something and let's say it's going against one of your values, spiritual people, this is a good example. A lot of times spiritual people believe that they can't be spiritual and rich. So their value of spirituality goes against them trying to make money. So even though, let's say they have a business, let's take Reiki for example. Let's say they've got this Reiki business and they want to help people, and that's their purpose and everything that they're happy with, you know. But then what happens is, because they've got this conflict, it's very difficult for them to actually get the clients so that they can live out this dream and purpose. So your values are extremely important. The next thing is identity. So identity is specifically what we want to look at today. So I'm not going to speak about that right now because we'll come back to that. And then the next level is spirit, or your higher purpose, or your higher power. So it's just that level above where you just release and you receive. So let's go back to identity. And this is a key principle in manifestation, is that when you live in the identity of the person who already had it, then your environment, your behavior, your capabilities, your beliefs and values all fall into place. So rather than trying to change your habits, trying to change your environment, trying to upskill all the time, getting stuck in that cycle of upskilling, or getting stuck in your limiting beliefs and values, when you step into the identity of the person who already has what you want, then it's just so much easier. Because let's go back and we'll look at the red car and the summer body. We can actually take all three: the Reiki business, the summer body, and let's say you've stepped into that identity of, I am this woman who has this purposeful business, who serves people, right? And then you have the identity of, I drive this gorgeous red car, and you have the identity of, I have the summer body. So what happens when you start craving that piece of cake? It becomes more difficult to go and eat the piece of cake, because now you're not the person who eats cake anymore. You are the person who has a summer body, whose metabolism works well, and who doesn't have to go on strict dieting and that. So you might be like, yeah, you know what, I do feel like a piece of cake, so I'm going to have a piece of cake. But instead of having a piece of cake, you now have a piece of cake. And that makes so much difference. So when you step into the identity of having what it is that you want, stepping into that future vision as if it is now, then your manifestations start becoming, I don't want to say easy, but with ease. It's flowing, it's soft, it's not this forceful, I have to change this and I have to change this and I have to change this. Things just start changing and it starts happening automatically, and it's just so soft. So instead of asking you, what is it that I need to do? Ask yourself, well, who is it that I need to become? There's a saying that Jim Rohn said, and he said, making $1 million. It's not about making $1 million, but it's about who you become along the way. So you become that future version of you now. You start living it out now. You start asking yourself, okay, well, what would she do? You know, yesterday my life didn't want to work. Well, the future version of me, who's done hundreds of these that went fantastic, well, what would she do? Well, she'd just make another plan and carry on, right? And that's what we did. So yes, that is the identity piece. And a thing that I love doing with my clients is what I call where we go into your timeline and we go and visit the future you. You go and you experience her. What does she look like? How does she dress? What feelings does she have when she walks down the road? What is the presence that she carries with her? And I want to encourage you in the journal at the end of day 2, there is a space there to write a letter from future me, well, future you. And I want to encourage you to go and just make some space, be quiet, do the journal prompts first, because those will help you just bring out some of that information that you need from your future you, and just get to a space and go and sit and write the letter and see what comes out of it. See what the future you, because the future you is out there, but it's also not out there, because the future you is inside of you. You are you, and all the potential that you have is already in you. There's just some clutter and limiting beliefs and other nonsense going on that we need to just clear up, and then she can shine bright. So that brings us to end today. Today was a little bit shorter than yesterday, but thank you for coming to the challenge. And if you have any questions in the comments, please feel free to ask your questions. If you're watching the replay, you can still comment, ask your questions. If you want to get access to all the replays, on Saturday, I think it is, there'll be an email going out that will have all the replays in one section where you can binge watch it if you want to, or watch it over the next few weeks. It's up to you. But the link is in the bio if you want to sign up for that, as well as getting the planner if you don't have it yet. And then, yes, so that's me for today. And I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope it's, even if it's just nudged you a little bit to be like, yes, I need to listen. Who is future me? What does she want me to know today? So I will leave you that we will catch up tomorrow again, same time at 13:13 UK time tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you. Bye.